Passionate Dallas Cowboys fans, pay attention. In this exciting update, we will provide you with sizzling information about potential strategic moves within the team that could redefine its dynamics for the upcoming season. Can you imagine Hunter Renfro from the Raiders as the dazzling star addition that will elevate the Cowboys' status? The next episode of the NFL League is scheduled to unfold on March 13th, and the Dallas Cowboys are already at the epicenter of media attention due to their ties with various free agents and surprisingly, the circulation of intriguing trade rumors. The latest trade speculation aims to strengthen the team's wide receiver position, and the name resonating strongly is Hunter Renfro from the Las Vegas Raiders. Renfro, who has fallen out of favor with his current team, could represent a trade opportunity at a more accessible price for the Cowboys, undoubtedly adding a fascinating twist to the team's narrative. Amid uncertainty about CeeDee Lamb's contractual future, though under contract for one more season, an extension is expected, and with Michael Gallup committed for 2 seasons, the addition of Brandon Cooks last season apparently hasn't fully addressed the need for depth in the receiving corps. It is in this scenario that the possibility of adding Hunter Renfro comes into play. According to the trade proposal presented by SB Nation, a transaction is envisioned that could be beneficial for both the Cowboys and the Raiders. Renfro, who experienced a decline in his statistics last season, playing only 35% of the Raiders' offensive plays and with a salary of $13.7 million for the next season, could be a valuable asset at a potentially more attractive cost for the Cowboys. Despite his declining performance in 2023, it is crucial to remember Renfro's outstanding performance in 2021, where he caught an impressive 103 passes for 1,038 yards and 9 touchdowns. Uncertainty now looms over the possibility of Renfro regaining that form in a new environment, specifically in the vibrant city of Dallas. Renfro's contract with the Raiders, signed in June 2022, ties him to the team for an additional year, with a considerable impact of $13.681 million on the salary cap for the 2024 season. Could the savvy Cowboys take advantage of the Raiders' willingness to absorb part of that cost in the hypothetical trade scenario? However, evaluating this potential acquisition cannot be simplistic. The critical question arises of whether Renfro would represent a tangible improvement over Brandon Cooks and, furthermore, if his arrival could hinder the promising development of young talents like Jalen Tolbert and Jalen Brooks. The key in this situation lies in achieving a strategic balance between the acquisition cost and the potential performance Renfro could bring to the team. The plot thickens, and Cowboys fans remain eager for the possibility of an exciting twist in the configuration of their favorite team. Revealed, the future of the Cowboys with Belichick in an NFL rival interview. Aside from Jerry Jones' recent statements revealing his high level of comfort with the idea of someday working side by side with the legendary coach, statements we find fascinating, somewhat inappropriate, and perhaps semi-true, there's no reason to keep beating this dead horse. Belichick is 71 years old. He hasn't overseen a top-tier team in half a decade. Even with 8 vacancies in this cycle, no one hired him. And only the Atlanta Falcons came close, an arrangement that sources told FalconsReport.com at SI was all about Belichick's arrogant desire to be at the top of the Falcons' power pyramid. But now Falcons owner Arthur Blank is spinning a contrary story for us, one that breathes a bit of life into that dead horse. Assuming, of course, that Mr. Blank's new approach is the truth. Bill Belichick never asked for total control over personnel, the building, none of that, Blank recently said. He was very inclusive, very collaborative. All these things that were being produced by the media are entirely false. Let's suggest that Mr. Blank is performing a delicate semantic dance here. We stand by our story that Belichick wasn't enamored with the idea of working under team president Rich McKay and young general manager Terry Fontenot. And indeed, read between the lines when Blank said, he met Terry Fontenot, checked out our people by doing his own references, sent me a private text, which I eventually shared with Terry, that he would be happy to work with him. Sure. With him. Not for him. Our man Jimmy Johnson offers a similar opinion, saying he's shocked that Belichick didn't get a job, adding, he's more than willing to defer some personnel decisions to the general manager and personnel staff. And again, we must ask, defer some decisions to the GM? Is that Belichick's idea of working under a GM? But, for the sake of argument and being respectful of the fact that Mike McCarthy is the current head coach in Dallas, if the Cowboys ever change coaches, and Belichick is genuinely willing to be just the coach while receiving direction, in a collaborative manner, from GM Jerry, COO Steven, and personnel chief Will McClay. The once mighty Bill Belichick leaning towards being just a coach, something he hasn't been in the last quarter century, increases the possibility of a future with the Cowboys. But again, we stand by our information. A humble Belichick interviewing under Fontenot with hat in hand and tail between his legs? A humble Belichick repeating that act a year later when the next coaching carousel begins, here at the Star or elsewhere? Well, choose to lean on the reflections of Thomas Dimitroff here. He's a former Falcons general manager and a former Belichick assistant. And he said that blank ultimately decided to stick with his guys, and hire a familiar face in head coach Raheem Morris, instead of allowing a Belichick shakeup. As Dimitroff said on Felger and Maz, every time Bill enters an organization, one assumes whatever his thoughts are about it, he deserves the right to run it. Maybe there was a group within the building that continued to resist Arthur, let's call it what it is. Any organization wants to maintain its world, right? Presidents want to maintain their world. Dimitroff, surely a Belichick loyalist, was likely referring to guys like McKay and Fontenot who wanted to protect their desks. But perhaps unintentionally, he also offers insight into Belichick's mindset. Bill Belichick had long been virtually the president of everything, meaning that in Atlanta, Dallas, or wherever, it's also Belichick who wants that big desk. After decades of separation, Jimmy Johnson and the Dallas Cowboys have sealed an exciting reconciliation. The breakup, widely publicized in the 1990s, now seems to be a thing of the past as Johnson and Cowboys owner Jerry Jones have re-established their connection. The clearest sign of this reconciliation was Johnson's inclusion in the prestigious Ring of Honor of the team in 2023, during halftime of the game against the Detroit Lions. Although both insist there were no hard feelings, the truth is that they are now in active and collaborative communication. According to Johnson, the reconciliation goes beyond mere conversations, he is now part of Jerry Jones' advisory board. In an interview with Joe Rose on WQAM 560 AM in Miami, Johnson shared, "Since the Ring of Honor thing, now I'm on his advisory board. Everything is good now. I'm back in the fold with the Cowboys." While his official return to the organization is not confirmed due to his contractual commitments in television broadcasts, Johnson has made it clear that he is willing to offer his expertise and advice to the team. After the loss in Green Bay, Johnson and Jones spent about an hour discussing future decisions regarding head coach Mike McCarthy, defensive coordinator Dan Quinn, and quarterback Dak Prescott. The relationship between Johnson and Jones, once the cornerstone of the Cowboys' success in the 1990s, seems to have found a new chapter. Johnson reminisced about the glory days, saying, "We both worked together 24 hours a day. People don't realize the relationship we were always on the same page." This reunion promises to be a milestone in Cowboys history, leaving behind old tensions and opening the door to new opportunities. For those who attributed the team's championship drought to Johnson's departure, this news is a ray of hope as the legendary coach returns to contribute to the team's improvement. The collaboration between Johnson and Jones has historically been fruitful, and fans can't help but get excited about the possibility that this union will generate more memorable moments in the team's history.